Good morning, my friends. Happy Wednesday. Welcome to another episode of Silly Girl, Silly Thoughts. I'm your host, Mindful Body with Rachel B. It's me. We're recording on the road again. We're in the office, sitting with a few topics on mind. I kind of looked at the boyfriend this week and said, what do I want to talk about? Sometimes I have too many ideas, too many topics, and half the time I'm trying to listen to what themes are consistently running through all of my clients, listening to my friends, listening to even myself. And we're having a bit of a rough week, if I was honest. If you could tell by the title of today's episode, would've, could've, should've. Shoulda, coulda, woulda. Coulda, woulda, shoulda. Whatever pattern you do, it's living in the past. And I'm trying my best to live in the present. Are we human? Of course. Do humans love to dread and love to worry? Of course. And like a human myself, I dealt with my own dread and worry this week. Many of you know that I took my licensed state exam. I'm a marriage and family therapist, licensed associate, trying to be fully licensed, and unfortunately, I did not pass. I failed my exam by 1 point. And that's a bitch. The feelings, the normal human feelings that showed up. One, fear when I saw that email, because preparing for that test, look, I'm already doing it. Preparing for that test was a little messy. It was a little stressful. Taking that test, I felt calm. I felt in control where I could, and I kind of made my peace. And there's still a part of me that I even think I said on the podcast, if I pass, that's great, I have a plan, and if I fail, it's okay, I have a plan. But it still sucks when we fail. It's such a big word, that dun dun dun. What does it mean, Rach? You're gonna give up therapy? You can give up your job? You're gonna go in a different direction? No. I was meant to do this. Too many of you guys talk to me. And I'm just so curious and so nosy that I'm just, here. And if anything, I'll probably use this as a marketing tool later on, as you think I had a hard time. Shit. Look at all my good coping skills that keep me here, and I can help you stay here. You have to laugh about it. That's just one of my silly coping skills, because I already spiraled like any normal human. I saw that email, test results ready. My heart was racing, my hands were sweaty, and I'm clicking every link and logging in with whatever password just to read. It's unfortunate to inform you that you failed your exam with the score compared to the passing score of 1 point. And there was a part of me initially that just looked at it, and I was angry. My normal human feeling of anger. I wish I just failed miserably. Why was I so close and just not quite there? Sometimes I feel like that's a consistent theme for a lot of us. A lot of us have that frustrated feeling. I was so close. I was just there. I almost had it. A lot of us worked really hard, extremely hard, and we're still almost there. Almost had it. And it's frustrating. So you're going from that fear, anger to protect my fear, frustrated that I didn't quite make it. And like any natural human, it's easy to blame. We could blame the fact that I'm a full-time employee, but I'm also responsible with my time management skills. We could look at lack of resources, because everybody needs a therapist, but it's so hard to be a fully educated, prepared, and confident therapist. And I think I speak to all clinicians on that. Some of us have had some interesting internships, school experiences, job experiences, and it's not to say we're not meant to do what we do, but there are definitely some moments in my career and for many of my friends and peers where you had to teach yourself. Did I teach myself the right material? Did I prepare myself with the right material? Am I reading the right material? The process of doing anything, and I know I'm just speaking from my own experience, trying to build up directions and ideas and information can be annoying. How many people do I have to contact? What information am I following? Which one's associated to me? Which is associated to a peer? It's overwhelming. And I think naturally a lot of people expect in the mental health career that we're pushing this, be happy, don't be sad, be happy. But I'm a person, and I'm trying my best to be a better mindful person, a more compassionate person to others, but also myself. Where are you compassionate towards yourself? Where are you gentle with yourself? Because exactly what I said. I had my moment, my spiral, my anger, my blame. But then I take a step back and really look at my big picture. Rachel, you had a plan for either or. Yes, it sucks that we failed. We could sit with well, we could have studied harder, and we should have spent more time studying, and we could have done this, and we would have done that, but it's done. It happened. It's done. New direction. So many of my clients will sit with me, and even my peers will sit with me of, well, what if I did it differently? Well, what if I can go back in time? Well, what if I did this differently? Or even sitting in the present moment. Well, I'm here now because of X, Y, and Z. Yeah, sure. We all have a story. We've all come from somewhere. We all made choices. We've all made decisions. And sometimes those decisions don't work out the way we expected. Let me repeat that. Sometimes those decisions don't create what we expected. Back to that word, expectations. With mindfulness, there's this sense of boundaries. Pulling in my yoga mentality, I'm not supposed to compare myself to other people. In yoga, we have the line of, it's just you, it's just your mat. Don't worry about me, don't worry about the person next to you. What do you need? What does your body need? What's happening in the present moment? So when we're pulling in this woulda, coulda, shoulda, we're dwelling on the past because we're just not happy in our present moment. And when you're so distracted by the past with this woulda, coulda, shoulda, you're missing out. And you're going to continue this narrative throughout your future. Well, I could have and I didn't, and I need to, but I can't. Stop. Take a pause. Take a breath. Check back in. All I could do looking at this test score was cry out of just pure frustration and fear. It's just that fear of, am I keeping up with everybody else? Normal human reaction. I have my own personal goals. And sometimes they're a little cliche and normal like most of us. I would love to settle down. I'd love to establish my foundation. I'd love to start a family, and I want my career already. Sometimes we forget that we're already supposed to be where we're meant to be. I had the opportunity of volunteering last week and just conversing with people who are younger than me. I forget how much I've done. I get the whole, oh my gosh, Rachel, you're so cool, and you've done so much, and you know so much, and you've seen so much. I don't see that because I've already done it. I don't give myself that sense of excitement that other people will give just because their experiences are different than mine. We have to practice that mindful gratitude of, I'm happy, or I'm content, or I accept that all the decisions I have made have brought me here. And in this present moment, what do I have? What can I be grateful for while being open-minded to receiving what I am still hungry for. Part of me feels like that's the average human balance. If you were a monk, it'd be a different story. They're living mindful 100% as best as they can. And there's a lot of sense of not holding on to anything. To let go, to release control, to just exist. But the average human, you and me, have bigger feelings. So where is that practical balance for us to say, hey, cry, spiral, be mad, be fearful, but come right back, put your feet on the ground, take a deep breath. What is in front of us in the present moment? What do you need in the present moment to either maintain your positive feeling or feel comfortable in your negative feeling? In that present moment, what made me feel comfortable was crying, because you're allowed to be upset. There's good and bad. There's happy and sad. This is not a game of or. You have to have both. So while I chose to cry to feel comfortable in that present moment, I also chose just to talk about it with my partner. Talk about my fears. Talk about my worries. I needed it out of my head. Everyone's allowed to take up space. I use the metaphor of a stage. You'd think I was in theater in high school. I never was. I should have been. But when one person's on the stage for too long, we're over it. We don't want to watch the show. You have to share the stage. So while my partner allowed me to stand on the stage and have my moment and have my cry and have my fear and have my frustration, as my audience member, he's going to say, get the hell off the stage. My turn. In that present moment, he was helpful by putting my feet back on the ground, saying, hey, this sucks, and I'm sorry. But remember your plan, Rach. What's your plan if you failed your test? And it brought me right back. What is my plan? Where am I going to go? Who am I going to talk to? How am I going to prepare? Because I have to take this test again. Because I have to become a licensed therapist. Because I have to be in this career. Because I want to be. I want to be here. I'm meant to do this. Some of us are just not great test takers. Hell, I hate that the test was on a computer. I hate reading on computer screens, but I tried my best to prepare for it. I did my practice tests on my computer, on my iPad. I tried to stare at screens as best as I could. I brought my blue light glasses. I tried to find my own silly skills to remember what I needed to. After this test, it was helpful that they broke down my scoring based on their topics, and I could see what I need to focus on more than others. Present moment, I'm taking initiative by doing my research to gather the material and trainings to feel more confident in those topics. We have to remind ourselves, and I have to remind myself, that these tests are hard for a reason. Tests feel so easy sometimes in school, and then they get harder when you're challenged. And people are still in that school mentality where we compare. We're in this together. We're doing this at the same time. No, we're not. We're not. I've worked in schools. I've worked in middle schools. I've worked in high schools. I've been to college. Like, at some point, the comparison stops because everybody is different. We're different in how we approach things. We're different in what we prioritize. We're different in our strengths. We're different in our weaknesses. We're different with the ways that we study. My exam fell around the same date as most people, well, because I work with a teenage population, well, most people were preparing for their college finals, their high school finals. All I've been talking about with teens lately is, how do you study? What do you do to help yourself feel confident? And just conversing back and forth. I prepared for this exam flustered because trying to be a marriage and family therapist in the state of New Jersey is a messy, messy mess. Information is all over and information is never correct. So I look to my friends, my peers, my colleagues. What material are you guys reading that helps you feel confident? And some of them were very great, like, They didn't have to do this. They did this just out of their own kindness, and I do this out of my kindness towards my peers and colleagues. It's sharing videos, it's sharing what books each of us have bought. It's checking in with boundaries. Because I look at one friend who enjoys using flashcards, and her husband helped her prepare for this test, where I just like to be in my solitude. I'm too distracted when being helped. Doesn't make it right, doesn't make it wrong. It just are different ways. Being mindful and living in that present moment, it's not always a time for trial and error, but you're going to do it either way as a human. You're going to try different things, you're going to explore different things, and if you don't, you're keeping yourself stuck. If you keep finding yourself in the same present moment and you're flustered and agitated, what are you doing to maintain your karma? Go back to that episode. Go back to that episode about karma. We talked about this. I don't expect a lot of us to be mindful in all parts of our life because as normal, average humans, we have stressors that take away from the present moment. Maybe it's our big feelings, maybe it's our phones, maybe it's our work, maybe it's our lack of boundaries. It's hard to compromise. And sometimes even in my silly head, I'm thinking about priorities. Well, I have to prioritize my job because it pays for my bills, but I have to prioritize my time because I have to study for this exam. It changes. Work season change, school seasons change, study season changes. These are changing moments. And they're going to repeat. Obviously, I'm taking this test again. Don't know when. So how can I prepare in this present moment? Second opportunity to try again. I may not like it because I have to do it again, but optimist mindset, silly thought. What can I do that made me feel confident first round? What do I need in this present moment that might be just a little bit different than the last? You can't dwell. You can't focus on that moment for so long that you're losing sight of today. And you can't be looking down that little tunnel of fear, blinded by what you already have in the present moment. You're allowed to be scared. If you weren't scared, I think you were dead. You gotta have that feeling. It's what keeps us safe. But we're silly humans, and sometimes we're so worried about so much that we're too scared to even take a risk to try. I know some people, and everyone's allowed to make this choice, no judgment. I know some people who fail a test, they won't go back. For whatever reason. Because you just don't want to do this again. Because you want to go down a different route. Because you based your worth on a score. And you don't feel good enough. Whatever the feeling is, it's valid. But I don't want to be stuck. Sometimes I notice how my own fear of being stuck keeps me stuck too. We're being brutally honest today. I read an amazing book 2 summers ago called The Mountain Is You. Where the hell is it in this office? The Mountain Is You by Brianna Wiest. It was an amazing book. I've highlighted it. I've tagged it. I've shared it with everybody. I think it was on TikTok 2 summers ago. But it's all about self-sabotaging. What I love about this book, because I hate self-help books who are always like, be happy, let go of the past and live in the present future and just live life to the fullest. Yeah, okay. It's a lot of pressure. I want the practicality of good and bad. I want the practicality of acknowledging what's in my control to make what I want happen and what I have to leave up to chance. That just feels like reality to me. And maybe it's because I work with teenagers for so long, and even I'm still in my little silly teenage mindset where there's people in front of me, ahead of me, however you want to see it. But they're in charge of whether or not I take my step forward. I level up. I move on to the next chapter. And it sucks sometimes because we're waiting on their time. It's a part of me that doesn't know when I'm gonna take this test again because I know I'm waiting on the state's time. How many emails do I have to send out? How many phone calls do I have to make? How many times do I have to be on top of them to get what I want? But it's in my control to do that. I'll be annoying. I'm sorry. But girl, I gotta take this test again. We gotta keep moving. I don't want to be stuck. Sometimes, if you need to be stuck for a moment just to recoup, reset, recollect, do it. You're allowed to take a child's pose in the middle of a yoga class. Who cares? Why can't we almost bring that into real life? I joke around with all my college kids, their first years of college. It's a lot. That adjustment to high school life to college life is different. That adjustment from going to college dorm back to home is different. And maybe it's New Jersey, New York mentality. Maybe it's just cultural mentality of keep going, keep working, keep moving, keep grinding, don't stop. Always making money. Hashtag motivated. But where's that balance? You can't be so far to one side where you're doing so much, but I can't let you fall too far to the other side where you're doing nothing. You have to find your gray area. Mindfulness, present moment. What do you need today? Do you need to rest today to be ready for tomorrow? Or do you need to prepare and work today to enjoy tomorrow? We may not know what tomorrow brings, but sometimes even I have to find a motivator because it's so easy to procrastinate. It's so easy to be distracted. It's so easy to avoid. It's so easy to say, I'll do it tomorrow. 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 Yeah, and then we're going to sit here later going, woulda, coulda, shoulda, woulda, coulda, shoulda, but you didn't. You procrastinated. It's okay. We're human. It happens. Right back where we started. How are we going to go differently? Or are you going to maintain that pattern? Mindfulness isn't meditating. Mindfulness can be meditative, but it's just taking in. Sometimes it's taking in what's happening in your body in the present moment. Sometimes it's taking in what's happening outside around you in the present moment. But what does it mean to be present, Rachel? Some simplify it as, what do your five senses acknowledge right now? What do you smell? What do you see? What do you hear? What do you feel? And so forth. Can you bring your awareness to these parts without distractions or with the challenge of not acknowledging those distractions? I'm not bothered when I'm teaching a yoga class if people walk in and out. I am unbothered. Why? I taught kids yoga for years. You think I'm not used to people just moving and grooving around? You think I'm not used to people just talking to me in the middle of class? You think I'm not used to people just... Things happen. Things happen. But over time, I've learned to practice to ignore those distractions. And I'm just existing. It's so simple and so hard at the same time because it's so easily to be distracted. It's so easy to be distracted. It's so easy looking at our phones, doom scrolling, listening to other conversations. Hell, even on the road. We're going to bitch about New Jersey drivers for 2 seconds. Even on the road, it feels like everyone's distracted because no one's presently looking at themselves. Everyone slows down for a car accident. Everyone slows down to see what's going on, even though it doesn't have anything to do with them. We can be nosy to a point, but rebalance yourself and worry about your damn self. Worry about your damn self. Talking about comparison, I only shared the news of my exam score with a few friends and peers because I just didn't want, I didn't need those. I didn't need the groans. I didn't need the moans. I didn't need the whines. I don't need that shit. I want to feel motivated. I want that excitement of, it's okay. We've all been there. We got this. We can do this. We're trying our best. What can we try right now to help you reach that goal? That's the narrative I want to be surrounded by. That's the narrative that motivates me. That's the narrative that normalizes that a lot of us are going to have a hard time. A lot of us fail. A lot of us are going to have to do the same things multiple times until it just happens the way we want it to. That's it. And I'm acknowledging, even as I sit here, that it's going to suck having to take this test again and study again and sit in front of a computer again and pay for it again. But if I have the ability to try again, that's a privilege in itself. If I have the opportunity to try again and get licensed, it puts me back onto the path that excited me. And there's a part of me that's calm, and there's a part of me that's a little resistant. Got both feelings. Because sometimes I think this is my karma. I'm always just so close and almost there, but not just quite. And sometimes I'm just stubborn, where I'm like, well, you're going to give me what I want because this is what I'm supposed to do. So either we take this test again, or I keep calling you until you let me take this test again. It's not in my control how quick people move. It's not in my control who scores my test. It's not in my control what job opportunity or what job I have in the present moment. It's just, how do I stay consistent to maintain what I have? How do I prepare for possible change within my control? But it's also just approaching the day when I wake up. I have anxiety enough as it is. I don't need to be thinking about my anxiety all the time. I don't want to be worrying so much about the future because I'm just not there. Who knows what will happen? I try to approach it with the optimistic mindset. You never know who you're going to meet. You never know what's going to happen. You never know where life will take you. We also have to accept that past. We're not looking backwards. I would have, I could have, I should have. It would make me better. It would put me here. I would have. I don't care. I don't care. I've already accepted the past. Choices have been made. Decisions happened. The only thing I regret in this life is not joining beekeeping club in college. I should have become a beekeeper. But my friends, I hope over time your silly thoughts slowly become more grounded, and that you accept your past and only dread over that one silly thing you couldn't commit to, like a club or a hair color. Because we got this, and we're doing it. Because if we don't do anything, we're not going to go anywhere, and we really won't have anything to be proud of, to celebrate, to even just build the foundation for bigger plans. That can sound both exciting and intimidating, and that's okay. That's okay. Life is exciting and scary at the same time. Excitement and anxiety are the same feeling in your physical body. It's a different mindset. That's how I see it. My body could be shaking, heart racing, palms sweaty, but my mindset is what is helping me figure out, am I anxious? Am I worried? Am I scared? What's happening? Or am I just excited for what's outside of my control? What's coming? What test score am I going to get? Who knows? Until we try again. Present moment, I'm sitting in my office. having a snack, talking to you. Present moment, I've addressed what I needed to today and I feel pretty accomplished in small ways. Present moment, I know there's a lot of work to be done tomorrow and the day after. Present moment, I'm doing my best to time manage, prepare, schedule, find time to do what I need to within my list of goals, responsibilities. We have to try our best to live in the present moment and release this idea of expectations. We're either putting too much pressure on ourselves or we're feeling that pressure from outside sources. Set those boundaries. Set those boundaries. And they don't have to be big. Some of you know I come from a lovely little Spanish grandma who just says whatever she wants. Do I build a boundary with her? I can't. She's so small. She can get under them. So as a metaphor, I kind of say, put yourself in a bubble and let those words bounce off. My grandmother doesn't have ill intent, which I think majority of us, our families do not have ill intent. They want what's best for us. They want something to celebrate. They're pushy and nosy too. But I think over time, me allowing myself to not react to what she says, because she doesn't know how I feel. I could tell her I'm stressed, but she only knows herself and her own feelings. And sometimes we have to remind ourselves about our families like this. They know themselves and their feelings, and sometimes they just can't see beyond themselves. It's a normal limitation. We see it in our older generations. We see it from a cultural lens, for my non-American friends or for my first gen, second gen friends. We're still building these languages of being mindful, of being present, of mental health, our well-being. Sometimes we notice how tired everyone is around us and we don't want to do the same thing, and that's okay. So living mindfully, set your boundaries to acknowledge what you need in the present moment and avoid or tolerate best you can what you can't control. In the present moment, it's okay to say that you don't want to be around everybody and anybody. I think sometimes in the present moment, a lot of our older family members or cultural family members jump to the opportunity to problem solve because it's just what we know. We don't want to see people fail. We don't want to see people have a hard time. We don't want to see people get frustrated. But it's normal to be angry and frustrated and sad. There's a balance. And it doesn't have to be every day. I don't expect anyone to be happy every day. And if they are, that's great. I don't want anyone to be sad every day. And if they are, we got to work on something. It takes work to be happy every day. It takes work to maintain ourselves every day. And sometimes I notice in myself that I need rest when I'm feeling more negative than positive. Mindful minute, take a moment for yourself, reflecting on your physical body, how we're feeling, how we're doing. Mindful moment, checking in with our mental side. Is our headspace calm and clear? Or is it overcrowded and busy? If you're overcrowded and busy, what are you doing to release yourselves of those busy thoughts? Where are you putting them? Journal, talk to someone, do you. When it comes to maintaining that positive feeling, don't do it to the point where you're burning out. Some of us are wasting a lot of energy, either chasing something that we want, again, not looking at our present moment, Some of us are not even putting effort in at all and just expecting something to come forward, and it's not. Come back to that present moment. Come back to that mindful space. Come back to your center, your balance. Establish your boundaries with people, factors, stressors, environments. In my present moment, my body's feeling a little good. Cold because the AC is pumping, but my body feels strong. My body feels healthy. I got my snacks too. Mentally, hopeful. I did my research where I needed to do my research. I contacted who I needed to contact. I look forward to see what I can accomplish tomorrow. Because at this present moment, my mindset has done what it needs to be done. And we have to record this podcast and talk to clients the rest of the night. My responsibility. Checking in with that emotion side. It's not to come with judgment. Oh, you're mad? You're not supposed to be mad. No, screw that shit. I don't need that type of narrative. Keep it out. Keep it out. Emotions, good or bad, without judgment, without trying to change it. Today I feel exhausted. I feel hopeful. I'd lie if I said I wasn't just a little bit defeated, but I was also reassured. This is a hard exam. People forget that exams are hard. But it was very reassuring from my peers and colleagues to know that they also had a hard time. It's not that I'm wishing bad. Sometimes it's good to know that everyone is having a bad time because so many people push this idea of, are you having fun? You must be so happy. Keep being happy. Don't be sad. No. That's not true. It's important to validate when we're sad because a lot of us are having a sad moment. And sometimes knowing that we're sad, a silly thought, it almost like allows you to just feel that feeling instead of pushing it and pushing it and pushing it down until you explode. We are smart people. We are confident people. We are deserving people. But we're also hardworking people. We can't sit in the present moment with this entitlement. I don't know, maybe it's just me. I work too hard to have nothing. I work too hard to be here. I work too hard to do this. And I'm hungry for more. I want what I worked hard for. And I will continue to work hard to get what I want. Because sitting and doing nothing isn't going to put me anywhere. Sitting doing nothing is going to make anything fall in my hand. But it's that balance between I'm going to work hard today so I can rest a little bit tomorrow. I'll rest tomorrow just so I'm ready to work hard the next day. My friends, I enjoyed a little moment of chit-chatting. I hope to continue to develop, again, these topics of mindfulness. If there's any topics or ideas that you'd like to bring forth, please don't be afraid to share. I wish you all a mindful minute, mindful moment, and to live in the present. In the present, what are we grateful for? In the present, what can we set as a new goal to have? In the present, what is in your control to make that goal happen? What do you just have to accept and let go and let universe figure it out for you, higher power figure it out? Because I submitted that test a few weeks ago. I said a little prayer. I said, whatever happens, happens. I'll just have to see until I get there. My friends, this is another episode of Silly Girls, Silly Thoughts. I'm your host, Mindful Body with Rachel B. I'm wishing you all a great rest of the day, weekend, and week to come. Until next Wednesday. Bye, my friends.